Hi, it's Sandy Wyllie. Welcome to my mental health channel where I wipe away the stigma of mental illness by talking about my own personal struggles, having borderline personality disorder, complex post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety and panic attacks. I talk about my narcissistic mother and narcissism, my schizophrenic father. I talk about my unethical psychologist that sexually abused me, all the different therapies I've been in, and a plethora of other mental health related topics. But I only come on as a former patient of almost 20 years. I am not a licensed therapist. I do not hold a degree in psychology. So therefore I cannot diagnose you. I cannot give you a professional opinion. All I ask in return of you is respect and kindness, please. Please show me and other people who comment respect and kindness always. We don't have to agree on everything, but we do need to agree on respect and kindness. Now, if you are new to my channel, welcome, welcome. Stick around, take a chance. It's 100% free, so go ahead and click that subscribe button, that little box in the right-hand corner that says subscribe. That way you'll be notified every time that a video comes out. Share it with your friends, spread the love, and comment please. I'd love to know all about you. Keep this like a nice community where we share and we express our feelings with one another and we learn from each other and we build a budding friendship. That's what I like. Now, yesterday's video was about how relationships fail. So today's video, I think I'll put a more positive spin on it. What makes a healthy relationship? How do relationships work? I thought that would be an important topic since I talked about relationships failing last video. Today I would talk about what makes relationships work. Now, this is all my opinion, of course. I'm sure there's many videos on this subject. But to me, commitment is the biggest thing that makes relationships work. And I know about commitment because of my husband. I have to give him all the credit on that. My husband and I met when we were teenagers in a community college. I was 18 years old and he was 19. Okay? I'm 59 years old and he's 60. So do the math. We've been married 37 years. We've been together 40 years. That's a long, long time. And my husband has stood by me through thick and thin. Through infidelity, I cheated on him. Through my son's severe illness and hospitalization for 2 years, through court cases and lawyers and cancer. My dad died a devastating death of cancer. His father died of a brain tumor, devastating death, a slow, agonizing death of cancer, through falling out with his family and just like through fights, through separations, through everything. Commitment is the number one thing in my opinion. I know other people say communication, and that's number 2 on my list. But what is communication if you don't have commitments? Right? You can be a wonderful communicator, but if you don't, or the other person doesn't have commitment to stay in the relationship through the ups and downs, that's what it's all about, right? Anyone could, stay in a relationship during the honeymoon phase. When you're young, you're slender, your body is tight, you don't have cellulite. I have tons of cellulite. My stomach is stretched even though I do crunches every single day because I carried 2 boys, 9.5 pounds, huge boys. I gave birth naturally. So I'm older now. I have a lot of wrinkles, gray hair, sagging skin, underarm flaps. There's a lot of things. My husband lost his job. I've been jobless. We've had no money. We've been on welfare. Just about the gamut of through operations. And, commitment is what keeps a person there. And they're committed. Just like a parent, not every parent is. When a parent is committed to their children, that means they're committed for life. The marriage vows say, till death do us part. That's the marriage vows that me and my husband took. Till death do us part. And if you take those vows very seriously, I'm not telling people to stay in a relationship if they're being abused. I'm not saying that. That's not the message that I'm putting out right now. I don't believe in that at all. You should, get out of something that's abusive. What I mean by commitment, that is that during all the hard times, the times when you don't communicate well, that you stay by the person, the ups and downs, in poverty, in sickness, and during everything. The reason why my marriage has lasted 37 years is because of my husband's commitments. That's it. That's the number one thing. We haven't always communicated well. None of the other things apply. What applies here is commitments. My husband's been 100% committed to this marriage during all the trials and tribulations, and that is the reason that my marriage has lasted. So, and I'm just telling you, if you don't have that commitment, if both of you are not committed to the relationship, no matter how well you communicate or no matter what else you do, it's not going to work. You have to stay in it for the long haul during all those times, and you will be tested over and over and over again. Another thing, that's number 1. 2 is acceptance, all right? We'll get to communication. Everyone thinks communication is the number 1, reason why relationships work out. Well, I'm telling you, commitment is the number 1 reason in my book. This is my channel. Number 2 is acceptance. That means accepting the person through your journey in life. Everyone changes. Change is constant, all right? Just like the seasons. It doesn't stay winter all year. It doesn't stay summer all year, right? A person is going to change. I'm not the same person I was at 18 years old. Far, far, far from it. And my husband is not the same person he was when I met him at 19. We were both naive, gullible, redneck. We were just kids who knew nothing of life. So the thing is to accept the person, and I'm going to just put a little side note to all of this. Abuse does not count. If a person starts abusing you and mistreats you, I'm not telling you to accept that, all right? That's a little sidebar. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when you meet someone, don't expect them to be the same person 10 years, even like 5 years from now. They're going to change. You have to go through the changes with them. And they have to go through the changes with you. This is, a journey we're on. It's not a destination. The destination is death when it ends. I hate to be, a pessimistic person, but, life is a journey, okay? And we're always changing. There's always change, and people are going to change. They're not going to look the same. They're not going to be the same person. I'm not the same person I was last week or last month, okay? I'm not the same person. I'm always evolving. I'm always changing, and so are you too. Are you the same person you were a year or two ago? If you are, then you haven't grown. If you are the same exact person you were a couple of years ago, then you really haven't grown. because growth is about change, all right? Like growing pains when you're young, it's all about change. That's why young people have what they call growing pains. So it's accepting those growing pains and learning to love the person wherever they are on their journey, okay? Because we're all in different, we're not always on the same path in our journey, but sometimes we're not always going in the same direction in our journey, but learning to accept those changes, the physical changes, like getting old and aging, the emotional changes. Some people face, depressions and go through depressive episodes. I went through years of depression in my marriage, over losing a baby, infertility. There was a lot of things. Losing my father, with my son being hospitalized. I could go on and on. But my husband always accepted me. He accepted me when I was 200 pounds, and he accepted me when I was 112 pounds. When I was grotesquely obese and when I was thin. When I was ugly as a teenager, all full of zits, and when I, matured and had, clear skin. During each stage, when I was psychotic and crazy and cheating, during every stage of my life, physically, emotionally, intellectually, he's always accepted me at the stage I was in. So that's number 2, all right? Commitment is number 1, acceptance is number 2, and now number 3 is communication. I know everyone puts communication as the first one that makes healthy relationships, but use I statements, okay, instead of you statements, because when you use you statements, you're pointing the finger at the other person, and when you point the finger at the other person, you're pointing 3 at yourself. See? 1, 2, 3. But you put the other person on the defensive when you say, you did this or you did that, Instead, you stayed out too late. You didn't call me. You didn't text me. You. You're already going to put the other person on the defensive. So instead of you statements, use I statements, saying, I worry about you when you stay out late and you don't call me and let me know. I worry a lot. Or I feel insecure when I text you and you don't answer me back, or you take like all day to answer me back. See, I statements don't put the other person on the defensive. So you don't have to prove something. Communication should be just expressing your feelings. Don't try to be right, have the last word, Just tell the other person how you feel and say it calmly, and not trying to, just trying to communicate about you, all right? Don't try to read their mind. Don't try to, let them talk and listen to what they're saying, not think about what you're going to say back to them. A lot of people do that. They don't actively listen. When someone is talking, they're thinking about their response back. Don't think about your response back when someone is talking to you. Listen with compassion and just really take in what the person is saying. Wait till they're finished. Don't interrupt them. There's lots of books and lots of videos on the topic of communication. All right? It is a major factor in healthy relationships, what makes relationships last. And it's number 3 on my list. Now, number 4 is taking responsibility for your actions. This is very important, responsibility. When you do something wrong, do you apologize? This is very important. There was a movie with Ally McGraw and who else was in that movie? Ryan O'Neal, was it? Love Story. And in the movie, the man said, love is never having to say you're sorry. Well, I say that's bullcrap, all right? Love is about owning what you did and apologizing. In my book, it is. So I don't believe what went on in that movie at all. Love is saying you're sorry. Love is owning your shit. Own it, apologize, and then don't do it again. It's no good if you say you're sorry and then keep repeating the same mistake over and over. Those are just words then. You have to own your shit. You know, I cheated on you. I was wrong. I broke our marriage vows. Please, can you forgive me? I will work on myself. I will get some help. I will go to therapy, which was a disaster for me, but which led to worse things. And then stop the bad behavior. You know, don't keep doing it. So responsibility. That's another big thing with communication. And here's another one, boundaries. Boundaries are very important. People think like love is not having any boundaries, you know. But that's not true, but people believe that. Love is taking down all the boundaries. But that's not true for a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship needs boundaries. You have to know what your limits are. You have to know what you can do and you can't do, and what's okay and what's not okay, right? And this goes not just for romantic relationships. This goes for friendships. Like, it's not okay to call me on a work night after 9 o'clock because I go to bed early, because I get up early because I work. So it's not okay to do that unless it's an emergency. Now, or it's not okay to come over my house unannounced. If you want to come visit me, give me a call and let me know you're coming, because I might not be home, or I might be busy in the middle of doing something that I really can't, give my full attention to you if I'm in the middle of doing a video or baking a batch of cookies or whatever it is for the holidays. I don't know, cleaning my house out from top to bottom, and then someone knocks on the door and I'm in my scrubbing or whatever, If you want to visit and give me a call and say, hey, are you up for a visit? Are you busy? Don't come over unannounced if that's your boundary. Boundaries are very important, because this is me in my body and my life, and that's you in your body and your life, And there should be respect for each other, where each other is at. So I think boundaries are very important in relationships, and I don't believe people who say love is having no boundaries. Of course, I think like that romantic love is not having boundaries, because romantic love, you join your bodies together. The man and woman join their bodies together. And so they say it takes down all boundaries. But just because you have sex, even in sex, it can be boundaries. Some people might not like certain sexual acts, like anal sex. Some people might say, I don't do that. So you need to respect my body, even though we're married. Doesn't mean you own my body. Even when you marry someone, it doesn't mean you own their body. If I don't want to have sex tonight, then we don't have sex. You don't force your body onto me because we're married if I don't want to have sex. Or you don't force a certain sexual act, like anal sex, onto me if I don't want anal sex, It's my body. It's my right to say no. Remember that always, because it is such thing as rape in marriages. Just because you're married to the person doesn't mean that your body is available to that person 24/7. Remember this, You don't have to feel responsible because you're married, that, your body is your husband or your wife's property. Your body is your own. It is not someone else's property. Even if you have a ring on and you're married, it doesn't mean that I'm my husband's property. It isn't. That went out with slavery, okay? That went out with slavery. Nobody is anyone's property, all right? So boundaries are very, very important. This is my body. I say what goes in it. I say when I want something or when I don't want something. Just remember that. That's utmost important. All right, so there's the last thing on this list. It's about managing conflict. This is the last one. How you manage conflict is very important, Do you escalate when you're angry and go, throw something at your spouse? That's how my mother did. She used to abuse me and my father, and throw things, break lamps, How do you manage conflict? This is what you should be very cautious of before you marry someone, okay? Or move in with someone. Before you move in with someone, notice how that person manages conflict. How do they manage things when things don't go their way? That is priority, okay? Do they talk it out, or do they just walk out in a huff? Do they ignore you, give you the silent treatment? Very important how someone manages conflict. And if you want a healthy relationship, you're going to manage conflict healthy. You're not going to ignore the person and not talk to them, give them the silent treatment. You're not going to start screaming at the person or belittling or criticizing the person. You never lay a hand on the person, never strike a person. How do you manage conflict? You talk about, communicate your feelings. You talk things out. You negotiate, all right? Negotiation. So if one person wants to live in the city and another person wants to live in the country, you talk it out, negotiate, and come to a compromise. Maybe you live in the suburbs, somewhere in between the city and the country, So both people will feel, you have to give up a little bit, not everything. You don't compromise your most basic values. You don't do that. But compromise is very important in sustaining a healthy relationship. So how you manage conflict, that's very important, to learn effective communication, using I state instead of you, to talk in a calm voice, not scream, not yell, not throw things, not have a temper tantrum. You're not 2 years old, are you? Not use the silent treatment and not talk to someone. And listen, Listening is very important in managing conflict. Maybe you need someone else to help. That's where marriage counseling comes in, because couples don't know how to manage their conflict, so they go to a marriage counselor. I did go to I did have marriage counseling myself. I've been to a marriage counselor. I've been to one really good one, by the way. His name was Alan O'Hear. Anyone know that name, Dr. Alan O'Hear? He's in his 80s now and he's long retired. But he was a very good marriage counselor. I do have to give credit that was one psychologist who is our marriage counselor that I thought did a great job. So if you have trouble managing conflict in your relationship, you can go to couples counseling. You don't have to be married now to go to couples counseling. Marriage counselors, do couples counseling with people just, dating. You don't even have to be engaged, just to see if this relationship can work out or not. So I gave you some pointers on what I thought was important in making a healthy relationship and making your relationship work out. I hope you can use these, and if you have any more to add, please feel free to tell me in the comments what you think is important for healthy relationships. And you can also share your personal experiences that you have in healthy or unhealthy relationships. And let's communicate and have an ongoing dialogue about this very important topic. All right. Until next time, I hope you have a great day. Take care.